A Niagara teenager is speaking out about how the COVID epidemic affected her. She survived anorexia and says social media messaging also contributed to her disorder. And it has her family calling for more resources to be provided to struggling teens. We must warn you, though, the details of this story could be triggering. Sylvie Lendvay has the details.
16-year-old Felicity Chesson has been struggling with an eating disorder for a year and a half.
It started at the start of COVID last year when I was home all the time, and I was restricting my eating. I wouldn't eat certain food groups like carbs or fats, and I was working out probably 8 hours a day. And I wouldn't let myself eat more than 1,000 calories. I was always very tired and weak, and I lost my period.
2 months ago is when things took a turn for the worse. She was admitted to hospital.
If it wasn't for McMaster's Hospital, I wouldn't be here today. So even if you don't think you're sick enough, it's important to get help right away.
Felicity says the eating disorder program at McMaster helped her change her mindset around food and exercise. Her mom took a leave from work to help.
If she wouldn't have went to hospital that week, she probably would have died, they said. She even lost her spirit. And that's one of those things I didn't recognize. I just thought it was COVID, but it actually was just, she was so almost drained out of life from being so skinny.
I used to be 160 pounds. I felt like I wasn't good enough for the beauty standard of today's world, and I had to do whatever I could to fit in and not be judged by others.
Felicity says a big part of what influenced her dangerous habits was social media.
And seeing all the new diets and don't eat this, don't eat that, if you want to look like this. Only seeing myself in my body image every day, so being rude to myself kinda, and just being able to scroll on social media all day and look at all the other people and all their bodies, and just wishing I was like them.
Since the start of the pandemic, referrals to eating disorder programs have doubled and hospitalizations have tripled across the country. The waitlist to get into the eating disorder program here at McMaster is now a year and a half.
There should be more programs, more funding, because a week she would have been dead probably. So a year's way too long.
COVID restrictions will be lifted someday, but the co-director of the pediatric eating disorder program at McMaster says the damage is already done.
I think the impact of the pandemic has been much greater on young people, and we're going to see the lasting impacts for quite some time.
Now that Felicity is doing better, she says she's learned from this experience.
My body is the least interesting thing about me, so if someone doesn't like my body, that's on, and that's why they don't like me. That's on them, not on me. And you're more than your eating disorder.
She has a message for those who are struggling.
The number on the scale does not define them. They are more than that, and they deserve to get help and not get their life taken away because of this disorder.
Sylvie Lendvay, CHCH News.